Hello guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be giving out NHL awards to players 1 month into the NHL season. Think of this video as a little bit of an early award show for the NHL where we look at the best performances from these players, and of course I'm going to go through the normal NHL awards, the Hart Trophy, the Norris, the Vezina, etc. to really determine how the best starts to the NHL season so far, and of course the players that I think deserve trophies so far. Now, just to clarify, these are not predictions for the end of the year. I already did that. I'll likely link a playlist up above so you can watch that if you like. And throughout this video, I'll be going through all the NHL trophies, and I'll be picking my 3 candidates for the trophy, and it'll go 3, 2, 1, and ultimately deciding my winner on things like the Calder Trophy, the Vezina Trophy, and of course the Hart Trophy through month 1. We're going to be starting out big, and we're going to be starting out with the Calder Trophy. And at number 3 in my voting, I have Warren Fagel of the Carolina Hurricanes. I've liked him as a prospect for the last couple of years. I think he's been developing nicely. So far this season, he has 5 points in 11 games. He got out to a great start, then kind of slowed down a little bit, but he still has had a great season with the Carolina Hurricanes. And of course, the Hurricanes have had a great start to the season too, so he's been a big part of that. At number 2, I have defenseman Maxime Lajoie. Now, he's been a big surprise this season. He was a 5th round pick in 2016. Nobody really knew who he was until this season with the Ottawa Senators. As a defenseman, in 10 games, he's put up 7 points with 4 goals. He's had a great start to the season as Ottawa has played a lot better, as I'm wearing the Ottawa jersey. But he's really been a big part of that defense, as that defense as a whole has been a lot better for the Ottawa Senators. And at number 1, of course, it is Elias Pettersson of the Vancouver Canucks. Really no other competition right now for Pettersson, and even though he missed a few games, he's been absolutely brilliant in the games that he has played. In 7 games so far, he's gotten 10 points, but not just that, he's gotten 7 goals, which means he's a goal per game. Amazing stretch so far for Pettersson, and while I don't think this will last, especially for Vancouver, Pettersson has gotten off to a great start to the season, and I don't think I could have put anybody else on at least number 1 than Pettersson. He fully deserves that. Now for the Selke Trophy, this is a little bit of a weird voting. It is for the teams that have gotten off to good starts and of course have some good defensive players on it. So for this top 3, it is a little bit weirder than usual, but you have the main suspect at number 1, which might give it away a little bit. At number 3, I have Radek Faksa, and yes, I'm showing my Dallas Stars bias a little bit here, but he's a absolute stud on the defensive end, and while he hasn't gotten off to a fantastic start offensively, his defense, I think, has even improved from last season, where it was straight brilliant. I think this season he has potential to be a top 5 candidate for the Selke voting, and some guys are catching on to him. I think a couple of guys had him at number 1 in the Selke last year, at least in the voting for the NHLPA, so I think that people are starting to catch on for Faksa. I think he's even having a better year this year. So for right now, even though it might be a little bit biased, I still have him very high. Number 2, I have Bo Horvat of the Vancouver Canucks. So far, he has gotten out to a fantastic start of the season, scoring a bunch of goals, scoring a bunch of points, and being one of the main contributors for Vancouver and why they gotten off to a pretty decent start so far. I think that Bo Horvat has obviously always been pretty good defensively, but I think this year he stepped it up just a little bit, while the Vancouver Canucks still aren't a great defensive team. I feel like he's one of the main exceptions to that. At number 1, I have Patrice Bergeron of the Boston Bruins. Now, this is mainly because the Bruins have gotten off to a good start, and I think that's kind of why I'm leaning towards him for the Selke voting. But I'm going to get Patrice Bergeron it so far because he has been stellar to the season, and he, of course, being healthy is a big part of that. So it's huge for him to have that defensive game that he's always had. And I think for Boston getting out to this great start, it's mainly because of that first line being so good, and of course, Patrice Bergeron is mainly the main part of that whole line and how it spins and turns. It's because of Patrice Bergeron, and the defense is always top 5 from him. For the Norris Trophy, I feel like there's a lot of defensemen that have gotten off to great starts to the NHL season, so picking this was really hard to narrow down. But to start out the Norris Trophy voting, I have at number 3 Morgan Rielly. So far this season, it's been an offensive powerhouse start for him. He's gotten 15 points, 4 goals in 12 games, and while he's played more games than a lot of other defensemen, he's still gotten off to a fantastic start. And of course, he's slowed down a little bit as the Maple Leafs offense has kind of slowed down as a whole, but he's still been very good across the board. As a defenseman, he's very, very solid defensively and offensively. I think he has potential to be better than Jake Gardiner, which he definitely has so far this season. At number 2, I have PK Subban. So far this season, he's done a fantastic job with the Nashville Predators. Of course, the Nashville Predators gotten out to a great start to the season, and he's been one of the main reasons why. Of course, guys like Ekholm have also had great starts to the season, but offensively, PK Subban is right back to where he was last year, and so far, it's been a great start to the season for both the Nashville Predators and PK Subban. But at number 1 on my Norris Trophy voting, this is probably the biggest surprise out of any of these lists, out of any of these picks. At number 1, I have Ottawa Senators defenseman Thomas Chabot. When I've seen any Ottawa Senators game, the one thing that stands out to me is, well, 2 things I'd say. Mark Stone and Thomas Chabot. Wow, I expected Thomas Chabot to be very, very good this season, but to me, he almost has replaced Erik Karlsson. Not in a way offensively, but as a wholeheartedly solid defenseman. He can do so much in the defensive end, so much in the offensive end. So far, he's gotten 13 points in 10 games, while Ottawa Senators gone off to a great start. It's mainly been because of Chabot and how well he's played. Now we're going to head straight into the Graviteh Trophy race, and for me, at number 3, I have Andrei Vasilevskiy. For the Tampa Bay Lightning and Vasilevskiy, they both gotten off to a great start. Vasilevskiy right now has a 1.83 goals against average, with a .940 save percentage, and while he's only played 7 games, it is still early. He's gotten off to a great start, and while I said that he would improve from last season, a lot of people called me crazy, but right now he's playing super, super well, as are the Tampa Bay Lightning. Number 2 in my Graviteh Trophy voting, I have Devan Dubnyk of the Minnesota Wild. So far this season, he has impressed me so much. In the games that Minnesota has played, he's been so good. Right now, he's at a .219 goals against average with a .937 save percentage. But really, beyond the numbers, he's been able to carry Minnesota to a lot of wins that they had. They had a 5-game winning streak going at one point, I think, before they lost to Vancouver. But that streak was mainly because of Devan Dubnyk and how amazing he was playing. He was practically carrying the team on his back at most of that point and throughout most of that streak. At number 1 in my Graviteh Trophy voting, I have pretty much only one person that I could even think of for putting it at number 1. Of course, I have John Gibson of the Anaheim Ducks. Whenever I would watch Anaheim, any game possible, John Gibson was straight carrying the team every single game. While Devan Dubnyk has had a couple of rough games, he's been mostly great. John Gibson has been good in almost every single game. Besides a couple of games versus Dallas, he's been fantastic in every single game, it seems like. You know, the Anaheim Ducks are kind of setting records for how bad defensively they are and how many shots they're allowing. I think they're up there with the all-time worst Washington Capitol expansion team for allowing as many shots on goal per game as they are. So Anaheim is obviously not doing a great job of protecting their goalie, and John Gibson has been there for most of it and has been phenomenal for really most of the season so far. So I had to give him Graviteh Trophy right now, and I think that's the obvious choice. Now, on to the Hart Trophy, and for this, there's a lot of players carrying some teams, so this was hard to narrow down. But at number 3, I have Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers. So far, he has just been straight phenomenal, getting 17 points in 10 games. He's been lethal. He just scored the overtime winner against Chicago the other day. Just on carrying his team on the back of his shoulders, he's been fantastic, and he's been Connor McDavid, but he's been on a whole nother level offensively, and so far, I gotta give him credit for that. For the Edmonton Oilers, while they're having a little bit of trouble with the depth scoring, Connor McDavid has pretty much been their whole offense, which is bad for Edmonton. But for Connor McDavid, he's been lining up the entire NHL. Speaking of lining up the NHL, at number 2, I have Nathan MacKinnon, and so far this season, he's gotten 18 points in 12 games. Of course, he's on that great line of Rantanen, McKinnon, and Landeskog, but McKinnon is, I think, by far the best player on that line. I think you can make the case. He's a top 5 player in the NHL right now. What he's doing so far, he's kind of replicating what he was doing last season, but he's on pace to get another Hart consideration kind of run this season. He's been fantastic, and with the Colorado Avalanche, that full line, that first line of Colorado has pretty much been their main offense. So for me, I had to put Nathan MacKinnon this high just because of how well he's done and how well he's been carrying that first line, not just the first line, but just the Colorado Avalanche in general. At number 1, this consideration or this selection will surprise a lot of people, but I have John Gibson at number 1 for my Hart Trophy voting, and it's pretty much just what I said for my Vezina Trophy, what I said for all of that, I say it here. John Gibson has been carrying the Anaheim Ducks to any wins that they might have. He's been straight fantastic. He's been straight godly when it comes to goaltenders. You can't really ask for anything better but John Gibson right now. He's been bailing out the Anaheim Ducks left and right, and right now, I still have no other choice but to put John Gibson this high. Now, of course, with the trophies and the selections that I told you guys about, I want to hear from you guys. Early in the season, we're 1 month into the season, what are your awards? And if you had the awards, who would you give them out to for the Vezina Trophy, for the Hart Trophy, any award out there? Let me know your picks 1 month into the NHL season. Now, if you want some more grab goodness, you can watch this video where I talk about Edmonton, Jesse Puljujarvi, and if he might be traded sooner or later. But that's good for today, guys. If you guys enjoy, make sure you like and subscribe for new hockey content every day. And I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Goodbye.